Hi YouTube, I'm Kahrima Winston, and I am a writer, reporter, journalist, and overall media professional from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now that's right, for all those who don't know out there, I am from the Cream City, the Brew City, home of your Milwaukee Bucks, your Brewers, your Packers, your Milwaukee Admirals, your Marquette Golden Eagles, and your UW Milwaukee Panthers, which is my alma mater, by the way. With that being said, I am actually filming this video right here, right now, in the basement of my home in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. With that being said, there's many things that I do want to talk about in this video, which includes perhaps my PlayStation 5, which is something that I absolutely love and I play every single day. Or of course, my obsession with Apple is something that I may talk about, and the fact that I feel the need to upgrade to a new iPhone every year every time a new iPhone drops. But that's a little bit later. And as a side note to that, I may set aside time at the end of this video, or do a separate video entirely to do a little fun fact about myself, if that's okay with y'all. But however, my media work is the focus, and that brings me to my point today. This is the official launch of my YouTube channel, so welcome to my channel. Now, back in 2014, I started a blog at the tender age of 20 called Dialogue.com. Now I'm 28, almost 29, almost 30, and woof, I do feel like I am getting old. And since 2014 and starting my blog, and along with going back to school, I have had the opportunity to do a little work in my dream job of working in the media, and I am looking to do more. So this YouTube channel is going to serve as an extension of that project that I started back in 2014. Now, as far as why I started Dialogue.com and a little bit more about Dialogue, it started as a personal blog, but it's become my brand. Firstly, I get questions a lot about the name of Dialogue, and I just want to say that firstly, I thought of dialogue because it means to have important discussion and conversation, which is what I am all about. It's what dialogue is all about. Now, as a side note to that, at first I thought, of course, that using dialogue was a little bit too cliche, because of course dialogue is an important term in the dictionary, and it sounds like a word that you would use to name the title of your blog, or something that someone would use, for the idea of a website, or their brand or a company or anything of that nature. But however, I thought of it anyway, and when I was putting in dialogue, the word, into the search engine on WordPress when I was first coming up with my blog name, luckily for me, and much to my surprise and my delight, it wasn't taken. Dialogue wasn't a word that was used by anyone for their blog. So I decided to use it. So I went ahead and of course used it. And voila, that is how Dialogue.com was born. That is how Dialogue was made. And I love it so much, I've decided to name this channel after it and start a channel in the first place using the same purpose and foundation as my blog. Now, I wanted to expand my blog into a channel for the purpose of more much needed discussion and conversation about all of what is going on today. But this channel is of course brand new, and I can't wait to share with you all. So of course, using YouTube is ideal. Now, with that being said, YouTube is ideal for dialogue. YouTube is a great platform, I feel like, a platform for multimedia professionals and all types of creators of content all around the world to use. And again, it's a professional platform, especially for people who work in the media, such as myself. Now, on a personal note, of course, YouTube is something that we use every single day. I sit at home and I watch videos on YouTube, and I upload videos on YouTube as the one like what I'm doing now. And I absolutely love YouTube, and I feel like it is a great platform for someone to have their voice be heard. I feel like personally it is a great platform to help amplify my voice. YouTube is a great platform to help amplify the voice of dialogue. So of course, again, I decided to use YouTube, and this is my YouTube channel. With that being said, this is essentially the vlog version of my blog. I started my blog anyway, Dialogue.com, to write my own pieces for my critical lens and perspective on the latest happenings in politics, in culture, and in sports. So now it is a vlog. And we will be digging into important topics and some of the similar topics which I dig into on my blog, with that being said, and I'll share more on that throughout this video. So with that being said, this is Dialogue, the YouTube channel. Now, as a side note on Dialogue is also a podcast. That's right, I started a podcast recently, and it is, of course, called Dialogue. So Dialogue, the podcast, speaking of that, it is where I upload episodes. I do episodes weekly on Dialogue on my podcast, and I will be doing episodes sometimes, back to back throughout the week. I haven't decided yet, as a side note to that, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or just weekends, which I have been doing recently with my first 2 episodes. I've been uploading episodes, every Sunday. I've been doing episodes every Sunday. But however, I don't know, if I'm going to do episodes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the weekends, or, back-to-back days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, which of course, during some of the weeks I will be doing back-to-back episodes. Now, with that being said, as a side note to my podcast, Dialogue, my mom and my cousin were special guests on the first two episodes of my Dialogue podcast. And I will actually drop links to my first two episodes of my podcast, to my Dialogue podcast, in the description box after this video. So you make sure you guys tune in and listen to that. Now, as another side note on Dialogue, I also moved my Dialogue from WordPress to Medium. Speaking of WordPress, I was talking about how I put in the search engine when I was coming up when I was coming up with a name for my blog. I put in Dialogue in the search engine on WordPress. Well, however, Dialogue is no longer on WordPress. I have moved my blog to the Medium platform. Now, Medium is a great platform. You know, I feel the same about Medium as I do pretty much YouTube. Medium, of course, is a platform that many writers use, and it is just great. So I decided to use Medium for, a relaunch of my blog, essentially. Now, back to Dialogue and this YouTube channel. So, of course, with that being said, I have now a podcast Dialogue, and I still have my blog Dialogue. But now, from yours truly, I present to you Dialogue, the YouTube channel. Now, as mentioned, Dialogue means to have dialogue. It means to have important discussion and conversation. And on my blog and website, where I write so much, this is the blog version of that. So on this channel, I will be digging into the same matters: political matters, cultural matters, and sports matters. And you'll also get a look into my daily life as a reporter on these matters. Now, Dialogue, by the way, is about that tagline: politics, culture, and sports. Meaning I discuss, and from the latest happenings, all things politics, all things culture, and all things sports. It's a combination of all those things, really. And on this channel, I will again present to you those hot topics. So I will be bringing you videos on the latest happenings and from that unique perspective, which was present on my blog. Now, for politics, for example, everything from the pandemic to police brutality issues, which have been affecting our community, to President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, I will discuss that. Culture, meaning music and film and literature and the arts, which mainly for me means music reviews and film reviews. For all those out there who know me and for all those who don't know, music reviews and film reviews are obviously some of my favorite things to do. Now, with that being said, as a side note, the new biopic on the great Whitney Houston and SZA's new album are just some of the things that I've been up to, just been on lately. Now, also, there will be some gaming videos, perhaps. Now, speaking of gaming, I play a lot of NBA 2K, which is what my very first YouTube video was about on this channel before this official introduction video. And that brings me to my sports. I will be having discussions on the latest happenings in the NBA and other sports, of course, including the NFL, the MLB, WWE wrestling. And as a side note to the wrestling, I am a huge wrestling fan for all those who don't know me out there and for all those who know me closely and who know me well. I have been a wrestling fan since I was a kid. Now, there will also be some soccer and NHL in there as well, because I love soccer and I love hockey. So, for example, if you want to know the latest in sports, like who's being traded in the NBA and my thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, all of my unique takes, check out this channel for my perspective, opinions, debates on all of what is going on. And I promise to break down everything, especially as we are in the middle of an interesting and exciting NBA season, which has just came off an interesting and exciting NBA All-Star weekend, by the way, in Utah. And we're also in the middle, we were in the middle of we just came off an interesting NFL Super Bowl. Now, also back to gaming. Particularly NBA 2K23. NBA 2K23 has been popular since its annual release in September, and I myself have been playing it like crazy. So yes, that's right. Along with the political matters, cultural events, and sports topics, that means that I will be uploading gaming videos, and you'll see me doing my NBA 2K thing. I will be talking about gaming and uploading gaming footage from my actual days of playing 2K and other stuff at home, in my sweatpants and a t-shirt and hot popcorn and ice cream and nachos and all that good stuff, or wherever I'm at, because I'm also a huge fan of playing Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch Lite. Now, with that being said, for example, shout out to Fortnite, and also to add, I want to shout out Drake, the rapper. Because Drake is a huge fan of Fortnite, as many of you may know. Drake plays a lot of Fortnite. Now, as a side note to that, I play Fortnite, I believe, even more than Drake does. So shout out to Drake and shout out to Fortnite. Now, back to Dialogue. Dialogue isn't just about myself and my blog and what I started and what I have to say. It's about others. The true meaning of dialogue isn't just my discussions or think pieces, but it's actually having a dialogue. So that means, that's right, along with my videos on the latest topics where I myself will be discussing things, I will be interviewing some people here and there. So that means special guests will be invited on the channel to help me discuss things or talk about what's important to them. So that's right, we'll do dialogue the right way, by having dialogue, the classic way, by Q&A style. Now, hopefully this channel, YouTube, provides a spark to the already dialogue that I've started with my blog. When you go on my blog and website, you can see where I write on important topics, at least to me, and relevant topics. So I will try to stick to that dynamic of giving my unique perspective on the world we live in today. Hopefully this channel gives meaningful conversation and adds some light or fuels new interests in this ever-changing digital world we live in today. Last but not least, as a media professional, I hope to use YouTube as a platform to the best of my ability. And it was important for me, YouTubers out there, to start a YouTube channel. But most importantly, Dialogue isn't just a channel. This really is a company. This is my brand. This is my media business venture, as I usually like to call it. And on the realistic side of things, it's me just diving into the important topics of the day, from that unique world view as a reporter, writer, journalist, and overall multimedia personnel, and also me becoming the overall multimedia mogul that I want to become. And so that's why I need you, the audience, to help me and tune in, subscribe to this channel, grab some popcorn from time to time. And I would recommend some hot popcorn, my favorite, because the dialogue that's about to happen is going to be on fire. Well, maybe not burning down my house fire, but it will be raging with some energy for sure. Now, with that being said, I promise to give you the latest straight from the source, like what I'm supposed to do. But of course, with a little twist to it, with a little bit more style, Kahrima style, the dialogue style. Now, last but not least, YouTubers, thank you all for watching. And I just want to say I want you to tune in and subscribe to my channel. I'll, of course, drop links to my podcast, in the description box after this video. I'll drop links to my first YouTube video, which was on NBA 2K, at the end of this video in the description box. And I'll also drop a link, of course, to my Medium blog, of course, dialogue.com, the blog, which is now on Medium. And I'll also drop links to all of my social channels, last but not least, which I am extremely active on. And I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and you will not be disappointed. Thank you so much. Bye. Hi, YouTubers. Kahrima again. I am back. Now, this right here is just the fun fact video, which I mentioned earlier in my longer introduction video. Of course, I mentioned that I would set aside time at the end of the video, or of course, do a separate video, which I still will do, by the way. I will upload a longer fun fact video about myself. But this right here is just a short video about myself, giving you guys, just to get to know me a little bit more. And this is just a quick 5 minutes here, where I will just read off, quick fun facts about myself. And there will be 5 fun facts that I will read off here. So this is just a quick little fun fact video, if you don't mind. And as you can see, I have my hat here on my head. So I will be just giving you guys some quick facts about myself, if that's okay with you guys. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Now, the first fun fact about myself is that I love pizza. I absolutely love pizza. I am not one of those people who, say, oh, it's just pizza. We live in America, and thank God that we do. And I am extremely grateful that we can have privileges such as pizza. So yes, again, I am a pizza lover. I am one of those people who can eat it every day. I can literally eat a slice of pizza. I can eat a whole pizza by myself every single day. If pizza was the only food that I had to eat, I could probably eat pizza. And that means, sausage, pepperoni, supreme pizza, which is one of my favorites, with all the works, with the mushrooms and bell peppers and everything else on it that comes with the supreme pizza. And with that being said, my favorite pizza, by the way, is, I mentioned sausage at first, but I actually love pepperoni pizza. So yes, just the classic pepperoni, sometimes no sausage for me. I can just straight up do pepperoni pizza. So I am a pepperoni pizza lover, and I absolutely love pizza. But of course, I love all types of pizza. And of course, living in Milwaukee, there are a ton there are tons of pizza places and pizza joints. And with that being said, as a side note, I just want to shout out real quick Ian's Pizza on the east side of Milwaukee. I am a Ian's Pizza lover because they are known for their specialty pizzas. You can choose your toppings. And I am a huge fan of the Euro pizza that is at Ian's Pizza. So just shout out to Ian's Pizza on the east side of Milwaukee. Now, my second fun fact, and this is another food fact, I love cookies. I love chocolate chip cookies, for one thing. So that's right, I am a chocolate chip cookie lover. And when I say, YouTube, by the way, that I love chocolate chip cookies, I mean I love chocolate chip cookies. That means Chips Ahoy, Toll House, which you bake at home, the classic famous Amos, and also the chunky and chewy chocolate chip cookies. Those are my absolute favorite cookies. I absolutely love chocolate chip cookies. And I can eat all types of cookies, by the way. I do love cookies. Now, with that being said, this is a little fun fact on top of a fun fact about my cookies. Now, I just said, of course, YouTube, that chocolate chip cookies are my favorite cookies. But here's a little fun fact. Here's the secret to my love for cookies. My chocolate chip cookies are my favorite cookies, but my favorite cookies to dip in milk, when you do the cookies and milk thing, are Oreo cookies. That's right, YouTube. You're hearing it from me first. You heard it here first. Dipping cookies in milk there is nothing like dipping cookies in milk if you are not using Oreo cookies. So, when you do the cookies and milk thing, yes, you heard it here first. You can trust my advice. You have to use Oreo cookies. And don't get me wrong, back to my chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip cookies are good to use too for dipping in milk, but not as good as Oreo cookies, admittedly, when you're dipping them in milk. But alone, of course, just alone, I do love chocolate chip cookies. Those are the best cookies. Now, my third fun fact is, as I mentioned in my video, my obsession with Apple. Yes, that's right. I am team iPhone. So forget Android, and don't get me wrong, shout out to all the Android users out there, but to me, iPhone has just worked for me. I've tried Android before, I've tried the Samsung phone, I've tried a Microsoft phone before as well, but it just didn't quite work as well for me as it does as an iPhone. And who knows, maybe somewhere down in the near future, I may try a Samsung phone again, but for right now, I am team iPhone. That speaks for itself, that goes for itself. So shout out to Apple and the iPhone. I have had, as a side note to that, by the way, I have had every single iPhone since the iPhone 4. And with that being said, with the exception, by the way, of the iPhone 6, I did skip out on the iPhone 6. But I will say that my favorite iPhone, by the way, out of all the iPhones were the colorful iPhone 5Cs. Yes, I was a huge fan of when the iPhone 5C came out a long time ago at this point. But when the iPhone 5C dropped, with all the different colors, I was a huge fan of that. And with that being said, I hope that I wish Apple would go back to that with the different color schemes. Of course, I'm a huge fan of the silver and the gold and the midnight blacks and of course the product red, which of course I wish, by the way, came in the iPhone 13 Pro Max. If you know anything about iPhones, the product red comes in just the regular iPhone. The regular iPhone versions. It's not in the Pro Max versions. So I wish that it was, but it isn't. But again, so yes, I am team iPhone. My favorite iPhone is the iPhone 5C. Of course, with the exception of the newer versions of the iPhone, the Pro Max versions. But yes, the iPhone 5C, I'm a huge fan of that. Now, my next my fourth fun fact is that I love music. Yes, I am a journalist and I love what I do and I love, my job, but I am a huge fan of music. The only thing that may come second to music, aside from reporting, my love for sports and all that, aside from that, and the next thing that comes after music is probably my love for movies. Yes, I am also a movie lover. I can watch movies. I got that from my mom. My mom used to watch a lot of Lifetime movies, for example, and soap operas. And I'm telling on her here, but she absolutely loves soap operas, and she loves her Lifetime movies, and she also loves all type of movies. So with that being said, shout out to my mom, by the way. But yes, I got my love for movies from my mother, and I used to sit around the house and watch movies with my mom when I was little. So yes, I am a movie lover. But that, however, does come second to my music. Now, with that being said, there is no one on the earth, no musician on the earth, of course, to me, more important than the great Michael Jackson. He is my favorite musician of all time, just as a fun fact. And, with that being said, also, of course, they have announced, the Michael Jackson biopic that they are working on, and I cannot, call it Michael, of course, appropriately titled Michael. And that is something that I am looking forward to seeing when that, of course, comes out in theaters. I will be the first one in the movie theater, and that's just a little bit on that, which I'll talk about also in a YouTube video, the new Michael Jackson biopic, which I am a huge fan of, and the director, which is directing it, in case you have not heard. Now, with that being said, too, as a side note on my love for music, as you can tell, I have behind me obviously a picture of Nipsey Hussle, and the great Diana Ross is behind me as well. So obviously, yes, I am a music lover, and shout out to Nipsey Hussle. Obviously, rest in peace to Nipsey. So yes, I am a huge fan of music. Now, last but not least, and this is the big one, YouTube, my final fun fact, my fifth and final fun fact, is that I I love what I do. I love my job of being a journalist, being a reporter, and this is serious. This is something that has been a childhood dream of mine. I have wanted to be a reporter, a news reporter, and really, not just the news, but also as the multimedia platforms which are used today for news anchors and for reporters and journalists such as myself, in terms of digital media as well. I have always wanted to work under some capacity in the media, but especially in terms of the writing side of things, and also a little, of course, some broadcast as well, and hosting and being an anchor. So those are just some of the things that I would like to do. It has been my dream to work in the media. So I do love working as a journalist. Another thing about myself, in terms of my job, it's, again, I have a lot of interests. I was just talking about music and movies, but, working in the media is my true passion. It is something that I enjoy doing, and now with that being said, the NBA season has been interesting. And exciting, and that's that is the type of stuff that dialogue is all about. Now, what the NBA season, of course, has to do with my job is that of course, I love sports reporting, and that is definitely, sports reporting is something that is definitely a passion of mine. I would love to certainly do a lot more of in the near future. So I love sports. I love watching sports, and I love being an analyst about sports, and I love analyzing sports while I'm watching sports. Especially the NBA. But also, of course, football in the NFL. And as I mentioned in my intro video, I also love wrestling. I'm a huge wrestling fan. So that is an absolute sport, sports entertainment. I love sports. So wrestling is something that I love as well, and have been a huge fan of since I was a kid growing up. Now, with that being said, just as a side note too, about a little bit more about my upbringing and my dream of working in the media. As I said, I do love what I do, and my dream of working in the media really came from my mom used to have a stack of magazines, whether it was ESPN magazine or Slam magazine, because I had, of course, siblings and cousins, and they used to read all types of sports magazines, and my mom, for me personally, would also be Essence magazine, Jet, Ebony magazine. She would have, all of the latest magazines, Oprah Winfrey, O magazine, and basically lying around the house, and I would read them. So I was a huge, also book lover and a huge reader growing up. So that's where my love for working and my passion for working in the media kind of came to fruition, and again, my mom and her books just lying around the house, and of course, purposely buying books for me. And magazines, of course. I would also, watch the news and watch ESPN and see the anchors on there, and the sideline reporters, and in hopes of one day becoming one of those people. So that's where my passion for sports reporting came from, and for reporting in general, and for journalism came from, and working in the media. So that's where it came from. Now, also back to the NBA now, again, I was saying the NBA season has been interesting, and that's what dialogue is all about. Speaking of the NBA and sports reporting, we just came off an exciting NBA All-Star weekend, the NFL Super Bowl, which, by the way, I was sitting at home for both of those events. I wish I was in Utah. I wish I was at the NFL Super Bowl, especially to see Rihanna's performance live in person. But yes, I was stuck at home, but I did watch both events on my television, and yes, I did, of course, as many of you may know out there, in case you don't know, I did live tweet both events, and I was sitting on my couch, and I was screaming the entire time, by the way, especially when Tyrese Halliburton first shot his shots in the three-point contest. And of course, Damian Lillard won that competition. And speaking of Damian Lillard, back to that, I love what I do in terms of sports. Damian Lillard 71 points recently. And of course the Kevin Durant trade, things like that is what the NBA is all about. This is what dialogue is all about. So those are, and of course other moments too, and other players and teams, which are, and some of the other moves which is happening around the NBA now currently, just all exciting stuff. So yes, I love what I do. Now with that being said, Finally, YouTube, those are 5 fun facts about myself, and I hope that you will tune in and again subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thank you for listening. Bye.